Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my January wrap up. This month I read, or last month, February 1st as I'm filming this, last month I read 5 books, which is the most I've read within a month in a very long time. And so I'm really excited to talk about the books I read because I liked most of them. Actually, I like them all, but you know, I have some complaints here and there. So the first book I read this year is Soul Like Thunder by Sophia Elaine Hansen. This is a poetry collection, modern poetry collection. This book was so good. This was a 5 out of 5 stars for me. The only modern poetry book I read is Milk Like Honey by Ruby Carr, you know, very popular, and I did not like that one. But this one was so good. She has a trigger warning list right here, which I think is amazing. So it's trigger warning for sexual assault, depression, anxiety, and chronic illness. Yeah, I've tabbed my favorite ones. I loved it. There's not much to say about, you know, a poetry collection, but she has a beautiful way with words. I've loved all of them. They were so good. Yeah, and now I really want to pick up her vinyl trilogy and just basically anything she writes. Thanks, Mom, for coughing. The second book I read in January was Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I read this for the Crows Club Bookstagram book club type deal that I helped do with Courtney from Library Cutie, who just posted her first YouTube video a few days ago. I will link it in the description. I love her to death. I'm so excited that she's doing YouTube now, and I'm just so happy for her. But this was the December book of the month, but I got this like December 27th or 28th, really late in the month. I don't know why it took so long to ship to me, and it also wasn't the cover that I picked, but I was just gonna annotate it anyways and get the UK hardback at some point, so I didn't really care about which paperback I owned, so that's why I didn't return it or anything. But this book was a 4 out of 5 stars for me. The writing style was amazing. It was so dreamy and so imaginative, and it just kind of blew me away at just like the writing itself. It did take me quite a long time to read, which I've heard Laini Taylor's books do have that effect where it takes you a while to read, and I just was trying to finish it so fast because it was already January and this was the December book of the month. But you know, it's okay. But this book, if you don't know what it's about, is about a boy named Laszlo who has a fascination with this lost city called Weep, which I would relate it to Atlantis for us, Lost City of Atlantis, which I've also heard people make that reference. And basically he gets asked if he wants to come to Weep and do this mission type deal, and they need a bunch of scholars. So he obviously says yes because he's obsessed with it and he wants to know why it's called Weep, and no one remembers anything about it. It's just a mystery city, and so he wants to, you know, figure it out. And then he meets a girl called Soraya, is that how you say her name? In his dreams, and she gets to go in people's dreams. That's her gift, and you know, things just happen and it's a good time. It just takes a long time. I'm here for a good time and a long time, but yes, I did enjoy it. I really want to read the sequel, but I know I'm not going to get to it anytime soon. 1, I don't own it. 2, this just took too long for me, and I kind of just want to, you know, separate the two, even though the ending of this had me shook. Like, shook to the core. So yeah, I may change my mind on reading Muse of Nightmares soon, but I know February I already have my TBR set for the booktube games, so maybe March I'll pick Muse of Nightmares up if I find it, buy it, whatever. I probably could have gave a better synopsis of this book, but you know, I didn't. I really did like Laszlo and Soraya as characters, and I am definitely a character-driven reader, so that helped. I'm just stuck on the writing. Like, I can't think of anything other than the amazing writing style. Like, that's all I'm thinking about. Wait, I annotated this for the book club, and on the very first page, after the prologue spiel, I highlighted something, and I already said I'm already in love with the writing. Like, page 1, I was instantly obsessed with the writing. So if that doesn't say anything, you know, what will? The third book I read in January is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in the Grishy trilogy. I'm kind of like unsure about my rating for this book. I would say 3 out of 5 stars, 3.5 maybe. I don't really know. It was good, but it wasn't like Six of Crows good. I think I kind of messed this up myself maybe. I don't really know people's opinions on the first book, just like the whole series itself. But I read Six of Crows last year, and that was my favorite book of last year, and I'm obsessed with that book. And then I read this one, and it was not as amazing and not as overwhelmingly good. It was just okay. It was good. Basically, hello? So in Shadow and Bone, you follow Alina, is that how we say her name? I'm not sure. I'm so bad with names, holy moly. I'm like looking at the name, trying to figure out if I could, you know, pronounce it right. We follow Alina, like I said, I hope that's how you say her name, and she is with her friend Mal, and they get attacked, and she discovers that she has powers that she didn't know she possessed, and she becomes, you know, a really wanted person just because of those powers. And she meets the Darkling, who finds use of her powers, and you know, it kind of goes from there. Some things happen, you know, as they do in books. That's my explanation for everything. Things happen, but I really loved the world in this. Just like Ketterdam and Six of Crows, I love the world. But I'm hoping Siege and Storm, which is book 2 in this, has more action. I just expected way more action than this book has. I mean, it could be partially, you know, Six of Crows again. I just expected more, but since this is the first book in this whole world, I guess this makes sense that there isn't much action, but you know, that's not what I wanted. But yes, this was a 3 out of 5 stars, 3.5, still not 100% sure. I'm excited to see more of the Darkling. I know people love or hate him. At first I didn't know why we were supposed to hate him, and then I realized why people would hate him. But I feel like as the books go on, I'm probably going to be one of those people that love him, because I love a good villain. Example, Klaus Michelson. God, I love him. Anyways, we're not talking about the Vampire Diaries. Continuing. The 4th book I read was The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, which, you know, obviously the first book in the Hunger Games trilogy. There's a readathon on Twitter. I forget what the actual name of the readathon is, but basically you read The Hunger Games in January, Catching Fire in February, Mockingjay in March. I read Hunger Games in January. I haven't reread this book. Actually, I'm not 100% sure if I ever reread this book or if I just read it before the movie when I was in the 7th grade, 8th grade. Not 100% sure, but this is my first time, regardless, rereading this in a very long time. I've, you know, seen the movies since then, but I haven't reread the books. And I genuinely forgot how amazing this book is and how amazing the rest of the 2 books are going to be. It's just, I just forgot, and I don't know how I did that. Do I need to give a synopsis of the Hunger Games? I genuinely hope not. But I just loved every second of this. Even though I knew what was going to happen every moment of this book, I was so excited to continue reading. I was just so in awe of this book. Like, I just, no words. I love Payton Lewis so much. I just poked myself in the eyeball. Holy moly. I love Payton Lewis, not necessarily with Katniss as much as I did early on. And by early on, I mean when I was obsessed with this in 8th, 9th, 10th grade, whatever. I don't see Katniss with him or Gale, but you know, that's fine. I just love him as a character. He's so cute and so precious. And he's just so in love. I love him. I wish he was in love with me. That's my review. I wish Payton Lewis was in love with me instead of Katniss Everdeen. The last book I read in January was Skins, the novel by Ali Cronin. This follows and is based off of the show Skins UK. I say UK because there is a US version, but we don't talk about that. This is one of my favorite TV shows, and I picked this up because I thought maybe I could, you know, get one last read in before, you know, the month ended. And I read this on the last day of January, yesterday, and it worked. This follows the Generation 2 cast of Skins UK, which is seasons 3 and 4. And I'm just so happy I read this because it tells you about the summer between seasons 3 and 4. And you get to learn kind of what leads up to season 4 and the mess of that season. A beautiful mess, to clarify that. So you have all the same characters that are in the show. So you have Naomi, Emily, I think that's Emily, I don't know, the twins, Cook, which is my baby. I love him. And then Freddie. And then you have Effie, which is my baby girl, would protect her 10 out of 10 from anything, would die for her, you know. Yeah, this is Katie, and then Thomas and Pandora, and then JJ. So it follows them. It has different point of views, just like the show, which if you've never seen the show, it's each character has their own episode, kind of, and it leads up to the finale, which is everyone each season. That's kind of how it works, and that's kind of how this was too. It's not the best piece of writing and not the best piece of literature, obviously, even the show's not that, but I just loved it just because it is my favorite show, one of my favorite shows. And if you've never seen it, I highly recommend. You would think it's gonna be like some silly, like, you know, just about sex and drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, which, you know, for the most part it is, but it does delve into some important topics like mental health, eating disorders, sexuality, what are some other ones that it has? Death, like loss of parents, friends, and there's other ones that I just can't remember right now, just because it's been so long since I've seen it, which I'm currently rewatching it and it's paused on my TV right now. Yeah, it was a good time. So it was like a 3-4 stars, 3.5 probably. It was just fun. That's it for my January wrap up. I'm trying to get better at explaining how I feel about things, which is, you know, difficult for me because if I love something, I just can't form sentences. And, you know, that's hard when you're reviewing books for, you know, a hobby. But I'm working on it. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know what books you read in January, or what was your favorite book you read in January. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye!